Alright guys, it is time for a top 10 list of the year for 2019 to round everything out. So we've done top 10 lists for Marvel Legends, we've done top 10 lists for Black Series, Power Rangers, NECA stuff. So I've covered some of the greatest hits as far as things that I review a lot on the channels. But this is going to be my overall top 10 for figures that I have purchased that have come out in 2019 and mean something to me. So this isn't necessarily a list of the figures that I think are the absolute best and you must have them. These are figures that I like and that have done something for me on a personal level. So they are great figures, or they are something that I just think is cool, or there's something that does something to me on a nostalgia level, stuff like that. Like for example, the last 2 years have been NECA Turtles. So the 6-inch SDCC set was 2018 and 2017 was the quarter scale movie Turtles. It's safe to say we're not going to see quarter scale or 6-inch scale movie Turtles on this list, but that'll give you an idea of the kind of things that we're talking about, because those figures very much do something for me on a personal level. These are some things that I just really like. There is one honorable mention before we kind of get started though, because this isn't an action figure. It's a toy, and it's a big toy, and it's something that should appear on pretty much anybody's list that owns this thing. And since it's not kept in this room, I've got this to at least show. So the sail barge. I haven't talked about it in a long time since I did 2 incredibly long videos on it, but it has to be at least mentioned. It is an amazing thing. It's an amazing playset, an amazing toy. It's an amazing display piece that takes up 4 feet of real estate in my basement. So it's something that I have to mention, but of course it's not an action figure, and I couldn't reasonably put it on this list because it would have to be number 1 just because of all the stuff that it includes and the price point and how grandiose and just how ridiculous it is. So the sail barge is its own thing. It's an amazing thing on a list of 1. So let's get started. Let's take a look at number 10. We're gonna go with Star Wars, and this is something that I think might be a little controversial because this figure really got a bunch of flack from people when it came out, and maybe it was warranted, but for me personally, I love it. And number 10 is the SH Figuarts Boba Fett. And again, something that might be a little controversial because it's not necessarily what a lot of people wanted. He's not dirty, he doesn't have a lot of wear and tear, but I love the look of this figure. I love the way he moves, I love the sculpt, I love the paint, I love all the accessories, and I love the clean aesthetic that fits in with all of the other Figuarts. It very much falls in line with this line, and that's kind of a thing that I really enjoy with my figures. So he may not be the thing that everybody wanted, but he's definitely what I wanted. Number 9 is a 2-pack. So this is the one thing on the list that has to be 2 figures. And you might already know what that's going to be just based on the fact that it's a 2-pack. But number 9 is the NECA Toys Bebop and Rocksteady Cartoon Pack, the Target exclusive set. These guys are basically everything that you should ever really want out of cartoon representations of Bebop and Rocksteady. They do have some limitations when it comes to articulation, but if you're like me, you bought them because of how they look. Just like the rest of the Turtle line, the looks is the star of the show, and they are everything that I wanted them to be. Instantly a nostalgic take back, although I'm not in any way removed from Turtles. They instantly made me think of being a kid and what my figures were to me when I was a kid. So it was really awesome to finally get those versions of those characters as an adult. And it's NECA stuff, NECA quality, so you kind of know that they knocked it out of the park before you even open the package. Number 8 is a figure that, frankly, I didn't really think I wanted as much as I did until I got him out of the box. Number 8 is the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball King Piccolo from Bandai Tamashii Nations. This guy is, frankly, everything that he should have been, just not what I was expecting him to be. He has tremendous size and bulk and weight, great articulation. He moves so well for being so big, and he comes with a great array of accessories. It's one of those figures that, yeah, he looks cool, and I was expecting to like him, but until I started playing around with him, I didn't realize exactly how much I wanted this figure. He exceeded my expectations in every way, and while I haven't gotten through every Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z Figuarts for 2019, it's hard to say that I would have picked anything different because I was just instantly enamored with this figure. For number 7, we've got a figure that honestly I wasn't sure was going to appear on this list because, well, there was so much good competition, but at the end of the day, this is a huge nostalgia thing for me, and there's a lot of reasons why this particular figure kind of falls in the list. It's not just because I think it's a cool toy, it's just more along the lines of what it represents. So number 7 is the PowerCon exclusive Masters of the Universe Classics Zombie or Slime Pit He-Man figure from Mattel. This thing is, I mean, it's basically everything you ever wanted in a candy, translucent green He-Man figure. He's got interchangeable heads, extra accessories. It's a translucent green He-Man. I mean, how much more could you really ask for? But for me personally, it goes along with the experience of being at PowerCon, getting him in person, experiencing that event, experiencing the fandom, and there's a lot of memories tied into that figure for me. So he's still a, 10-year-old style figure at this point, but I could not imagine not having him in my collection. I couldn't imagine not being there to get him in person, because that was half of the figure for me. It's all of the fun that I had getting him while also having an amazingly cool He-Man figure. Number 6 is the first of the first spots on my previous top 10 list, and that would be the NECA Toys 2018 The Predator Assassin Predator figure. The huge, monstrous, beefy, tall, just crazily detailed Assassin Predator that they put out. And this, like I said in that top 10 list, is a figure that I was instantly head over heels with. As soon as I got him out of the box, I just could not stop playing with this thing. And it was instantly being posed and balanced and just thrown all around and testing it out. And since then, I still keep playing with it because I love this Predator. I love the way it looks. I love the size. I love the idea of this thing as a toy. It may not be the coolest thing in the movie, but as a toy, this thing is exactly what I wanted it to be. And it looks so menacing on the shelf compared to just about every other Predator that NECA's ever made. Number 5 takes us back to PowerCon, and for another exclusive, well, sort of exclusive, kind of an early release, although the figure still technically hasn't been really widely released yet to the public. So number 5 is the only Mythic Legions on the list, Mythic Legions Crona figure from the Four Horsemen. This guy is pretty much an example of everything I love about Mythic Legions. He is evil looking, he's menacing, he's got crazy sculpt and detail, he's got wild, weird colors because he is a Trapjaw Masters of the Universe homage figure, so he's kind of in his own little subline while being part of the larger Mythic Legions world. It's just everything that I like about him, and as soon as I got this guy back into my hotel room, I instantly had to take him out. I couldn't even wait to get home for this figure. I had to rip him out, I had to mess around with him, and it's just a cool, awesome figure that pops against all the other Legion stuff while at the same time fitting in so perfectly with all of the other weird skeleton combinations you can make out of this crazy, awesome line. Number 4 takes us back to a number 1 from another top 10 list. This time we're looking at the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Lord Zedd figure. I made it pretty well known in that top 10 list, quite obviously, that I was head over heels with this figure. I love Power Rangers, and I've always made that known. I'm a huge Power Ranger fan, and Lord Zedd is my all-time favorite Power Ranger villain. It's just something about the look, the menacing nature of the character, at least earlier on in the show, and it's everything that I always wanted this figure to be. He looks, dare I say, perfect for what he is. Outside of the fact that they didn't give him those silver fingertips, I couldn't think of a better way to have Lord Zedd brought into a 6-inch line. I honestly think that they kind of set the bar a little too high for themselves when it comes to this figure, because I'm going to think that it's really hard to top this one down the road. So far, I don't think they've bested this in any way, and I would love for them to try, but even if they don't, this is such an amazing action figure that I couldn't imagine anyone not wanting to get this if you're even remotely a Power Ranger fan. Number 3 is another number 1, and we're going back to Star Wars for this one, for the Black Series Mandalorian figure. It goes without saying that this is still, even after I've said this in the Black Series list, this is still the must-have figure to get. People are still spending ridiculous amounts of money just to get the regular box, just to get the carbonized, and then people are spending triple digits to get that white box version. It is, however, a stellar action figure. It's easily one of the best Black Series figures that I can think of in recent history, and the fact that I love the show and what it's doing for Star Wars just kind of amplifies how much enjoyment I'm getting out of this figure. The figure is great, but having such fantastic source material to draw from, it works wonders for just having fun with this guy. Of course, he's no longer screen accurate. I'm sure we're going to get another one down the road, but this figure in the regular or carbonized versions are must-have. It's as simple as that. You have to have this figure. There is no reason not to own this one if you are even remotely interested in the Black Series. Number 2 is, well, have you guessed it? Another number 1 from a previous list. This one we're going to Marvel Legends, and this one was honestly a little difficult because I wasn't sure if he was going to appear this high on the list, but as soon as I look at this figure, or well, both of these figures, and just play around with them, I'm instantly reminded of why I like it so much. So number 2 is the Marvel Legends Green Hulk and Gray Hulk, so the one from the Wolverine 2-pack and then the one from that retro carded release, with, again, the best Marvel Legends accessory of all time, the crushed pipe. And I just love everything about these figures. The size, the heft, the articulation for such huge action figures. It could of course be said that their butterfly joints need to move forward more, but everything else is absolutely a winning combination. The head sculpts on both fill certain holes in the timelines for Hulks, and they both look great on their own. I still think I like that gray one a little bit better, but there is zero doubt in my mind that this is the year of the Hulk. I mean, we've gotten a ton of Hulks from Hasbro this year, and they have all, in some way or another, been fantastic, but these two in particular, we're not talking about that SDCC version, are just a cut above. They are everything I wanted in comic Hulk figures, and they excel at being a green Hulk and a gray Hulk. I could not ask for anything better from Hasbro. And now it's time for that curveball that I mentioned, because number one is probably not going to be a figure that anybody saw coming or even expected to appear on my list, because I don't really talk about this stuff. Well, I've talked about it a little bit more this year because there is a line for it right now, but I don't talk about this particular line very often. So I've made it pretty well known over the past few months that I'm a huge Gundam fan. I just don't do models anymore. So when the Gundam Universe line came out, I was 100% on board because I don't really buy any of the more expensive Robot Spirit stuff just because, well, they're so damn expensive. But I had to make an exception this year, and that is because my favorite mobile suit, not Gundam, but mobile suit of all time from any Gundam show, from my favorite Gundam series, was released in the Robot Spirits line, and I instantly jumped on it, and I had to get it, and when I got it in hand, to say I was blown away is an understatement, because this thing is just beautiful in hand. It has damn near 1 million accessories, and it's just everything that I wanted it to be, because frankly there is no equivalent model kit for this thing that I could even attempt to buy because they're all so old. So number one, as I'm finally getting to it, is the Bandai Tamashii Nations Robot Spirits or Robot Damashi Camphor from Mobile Suit Gundam 0080. This is just an amazing action figure. It is everything that I wanted it to be. It looks screen accurate as can be. Again, it comes with not 1 million accessories, but it comes with like 30 accessories. Hands, 1 million guns, effect pieces, engine thrust pieces, just all kinds of stuff crammed into this box to make it as screen accurate as possible, because this thing was basically a walking armory, and you can put like 10 guns on this thing at once. It is truly a fantastic action figure, but just like I mentioned, there is more to it than that, because the show that this thing comes from really means way too much to me just from a nostalgic standpoint. It is by far my favorite Gundam show. It's something that I have watched time and time and time again since I was a kid, and I just could not imagine having a better interpretation of this suit in figure form. I think that they did a tremendous job on this, and I'm so happy that I have it. I don't talk about this stuff a whole lot because, again, I don't really jump into that line all that often, but I had to make an exception for this thing, and it's just exceeded my every expectation. I love having this thing in my collection. So that is it for my 2019 list. I don't know that too much stuff is maybe a curveball here and there, maybe some things you didn't exactly expect to appear on the list. I'm sure number one was probably not, and I really had a hard time figuring out where all this stuff was going to go, because frankly a lot of this stuff is interchangeable. I had a great year as far as collecting goes. Hasbro absolutely knocked it out of the park on so many things this year. Power Rangers, Hasbro did, 1 million Marvel Legends, and then Black Series really ramped up towards the end of the year. Rest in peace Overwatch, I suppose, but we had a good time for a little while. And just a lot of other cool stuff, obviously the NECA side of things. And then I'm always down for figure arts, but this Gundam figure was really just a cut above. It just means a lot more to me than just being an action figure. So that is my list, guys. I would love to know what your favorite figures are, what you maybe think does or doesn't belong on my list. I'd love to know your thoughts on some of that stuff as usual. But let me know what you guys think are your top 3, top 5, top 10, top 1, whatever it is. What was your favorite toys, figures to get for 2019? That's it, guys. I'll catch you next time.